Hey, I'm Tommy Calloway. So a few months ago, an LED lighting company named Velvet sent me an email about a new light they've been developing, the VELVETLight EVO 1. My interest was immediately piqued once I saw the specs, and I wanted to check it out. So I've had one in the studio now for a couple months, and it's time for a review. The VELVETLight EVO 1 is an RGBWW 1x1 soft panel that is now my new go-to light for pretty much anything that I do outside of this studio, for a few very obvious reasons, which I'll get to in just a second. But let's get the cost out of the way first. This light comes in at roughly $3,100 US, and that's without a power supply. The AC power adapter is $375 US, and the V-mount adapter is about $275. You only need one of the two, but I would recommend getting both because that would give you the most flexibility, and they can be swapped out in just a couple seconds. Beyond just the light and the power adapter you choose, you're also going to need a way to get it to and from locations. So they also sell their Cordura carrying bag, which is another $300, and it's really nice. And I would also highly recommend getting some kind of modifier. This is the Dop Choice 40-degree grid, and that's another $300. Here's without the grid, and there's with the grid. Having some sort of modifier is essential for your big lights, so I would definitely recommend it. Before shipping or applicable taxes, you're looking at roughly a $4,500 piece of lighting kit. And while that's certainly not cheap, their direct competitor is the RE SkyPanel S30C, and that comes in at about $1,000 more to get it with the same loadout of accessories, and there's some very clear advantages with the Velvet EVO 1. So why am I reviewing it though? Well, I mean, I just love lights, and if you love lights, you should probably already be subscribed to this channel. Thanks for that. But gaffers and other filmmakers already know why a light like this can cost thousands of dollars, but for independent filmmakers, Craigslist music video makers, and other small projects, learning to utilize lights like this is how you turn your small business into a bigger business. You could use part of your budget to rent something like this for around 150 bucks instead of spending that same cash on a little pocket light that doesn't have enough punch or a long enough battery life. You don't have to pay for it though. You then add the cost of whatever you paid to rent this kit onto your price, and then you forward that onto your client on an itemized quote or a proposal. And if you're consistently renting things like this, then it might make sense to finance or purchase your own light. It'll pay itself off in something like 25 to 30 jobs at standard rental rates, and then any rental costs that you offload onto your client after that just become profit. Because after you buy the light, you still charge every time you bring it with you. Then you also get to use it for your own personal YouTube videos. But this isn't a business class, and if you're watching this video, you probably just want to know what this light can do and why it costs what it does. For me, the most interesting feature this light has is going to be its IP54 rating, meaning it's dust and rainproof. Now, California doesn't get rain very often, but I got lucky and California had a few days of the wet stuff. So I turned it on and let it soak outside for an hour with the panel facing the sky, and then another hour with the back of the panel facing the sky, and it still works great. If you follow my Instagram at TGCalloway, you've already seen a few pictures from when I was doing the rain test. I took a few selfies backlit by the cloudy day and then keyed up by the EVO 1, and it's very bright. On top of that, it weighs less than 10 pounds, but it isn't made of plastic either. It's all very solid and metal, and it feels very tanky and durable, with the couple handles on the back, which are super convenient, very textured, and they just feel really nice. They're part of the frame. They're very well-made handles. It's a 100-watt light, and it can be powered at full power using a single this is a 98, but it can be powered using a single 90 watt-hour V-mount battery for 1 hour at 100% power. In fact, I used this 290 watt-hour Bebob Cine battery, and I powered the light for 4 hours at 80% at an event that I needed to use this light to light. And it worked great. I didn't even think about it. I brought the AC adapter in case my battery died because I only brought one battery, but the battery lasted the whole 4-hour event. Pretty cool. Swapping between AC and battery power takes just a couple seconds and no tools. They've developed this really innovative twist lock mechanism for attaching the power and accessories. It's so convenient that I wish other lighting manufacturers would adopt a similar mechanism, or if this would just become the standard. That's how much I like it. In fact, let me just do it right now. Here you go. Pull on this thing, boom, it's off. You just just line it up, twist it on, plug it in, put in the battery. All done. It is completely silent because, of course, there are no fans. It's all completely sealed. There's no openings into the electronics. The back of the panel is covered in nice, thick metal blades that act as an excellent heatsink. It has Wi-Fi and wireless DMX control built in, but I don't have a good wireless controller, and for most wireless DMX things, you have to like use a router and set it up. Fortunately, while I was reviewing it, they came out with a firmware update, and there's a USB port that you can use right here. I took a flash drive and a USB to USB mini adapter, plugged it in, loaded on the new firmware, and then it enabled a Bluetooth control. You just connect with your phone, and then they have an app and you can pick colors, and it's super easy to control your light, and you don't have to connect to any special Wi-Fi network or anything. I really like it when manufacturers add features onto lights after the fact through firmware. It just shows that after you get a tool that they're still thinking about it, you know? The controls on the back are shockproof buttons, which at first seemed like a poor or cheap design choice, but after thinking about the amount of consideration that had to go into rainproofing a light like this, it was clearly the only option. On top of that, there was obviously a lot of thought that went into the user interface, and you can actually set up your own onboard presets to pick colors and options without having to actually connect a Wi-Fi or wireless device or use your phone or anything. You can save presets onboard to the device. You don't have to use anything external. And there's a full RGBWW option, which lets you configure the intensity of every color channel, including both warm and cool white, and then the overall intensity, which is one of my favorite options for maximum control of what color you want to use. And their marketing data says this is a 95 plus TLCI light, so let's go ahead and measure that now. Now, measuring light can get pretty boring and dry sometimes, so I'm going to try and keep this short and light. The daylight and tungsten color output is about 2500 lux, and the CCT, or the color temperature, is extremely accurate, within 80 points of whatever you're selecting. And the CRI and TLCI are higher than what the marketing data claims. I'm getting high as 97 on tungsten. And when comparing it to something comparable like the Light Panel's Gemini 1x1, the output on the white channels is about half as much, but the output on the red, the green, and the blue channels, or the color channels, is about twice as bright. Those of you keen on details may have noticed this one has the IP54 dot highlighted. So they have a few different versions of this panel and the power supplies that go with it. This one is the IP54 version. They also have a studio version. They've got a ton of different versions of the Velvet EVO lights. Real quick, I just want to mention that the carrying case is like actually really thin compared to a lot of other carrying cases I've seen for lights that are this big and powerful. It can fit everything you see here in it. It can fit the dop choice 40-degree grid and the carry case for that, the VMAT battery plate and a 290 watt-hour VMAT battery, the AC power supply and the power cord, of course, and the light itself, all in the bag. It's like, it's perfect, which is very convenient, especially if you're trying to take it anywhere. So I just wanted to point that out, that I really like their case. RGBWW, in my opinion, is the future when it comes to investing in versatile lighting tools inside and outside of a studio, and the future is looking really bright today. Some people may think that RGBWW is like trendy and, you know, it'll die down, but I don't, because using lights that are wirelessly configurable in RGBWW lets you set the colors and the gels and the intensities without actually having to go physically touch the light. It saves time, it saves money, it's safer. You don't have to get up on a ladder to change gels or anything. So I think if you're trying to invest in a long-term lighting solution that you want to take with you or use in your studio, you should consider paying a little bit more for those valuable RGBWW options. So to sum things up, yes, this is an expensive light, but it also offers a ton of value to a production and is one of your only options when you want a full RGBWW soft panel that can handle rain without a bunch of extra things on it. That saves you time, and when you're working with other people, anything that saves time is valuable. This would likely fall into the old adage of buy expensive once or buy cheap many times. This is a super durable light that is rainproof and has no moving parts, and it will not waste your time. A light like this is going to be far easier to work with than something like the Airy Sky panel because it weighs so much less, and you don't have to worry about getting it wet. So if you like big lights like this, give me a thumbs up on this video and get ready for the next one. I'll have a link to where you can learn more about Velvet and their lights in the description of this video. Thanks for watching. Oh, we just passed 30,000 subscribers, so thank every one of you for watching my videos and being passionate about lighting with me. All right, light up that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.